Tomas Sedláček, Economics of Good and Evil, The Quest for Economic Meaning from Gilgamesh to Wall Street. Embark on an enlightening journey as we dive into the book's summary of Economics of Good and Evil, The Quest for Economic Meaning from Gilgamesh to Wall Street by Tomas Sedláček. Expect to unravel the intricate relationship between economics and ethics, exploring how historical myths, religion, philosophy, and ancient economic thought have impacted economic analyses and resulted in several flawed modern assumptions. This summary will shed light on how vital philosophical roots have been obscured by the field's reliance on mathematics, and challenge conventional economic thinking that narrows humans down to purely self-serving, utilitarian beings.
Economics and the illusion of numbers. Economists' reliance on simplified mathematical models has resulted in a disconnection from reality, leading to a consistent failure to predict future events or explain past ones. The overemphasis on mathematical branches of economics has not only resulted in disagreements over the cause of past crises such as the Great Depression but also economists' inability to prevent future financial meltdowns. Upholding the belief that people only act for self-benefit, and universal utilitarianism has also contributed to this analytical failure. In essence, economics' ethical content, the good and evil, has been buried under numerical elegance. However, there is a solution to this problem. Economics needs to de-emphasize its mathematical foundations and reconnect with its philosophical roots, thereby acknowledging the subjective assumptions it makes. The subject of economics has long been a qualitative one, drawing from myths, religion, science, theology, and philosophy, and it must continue to do so. In this way, economic analyses will become more objective by embracing subjectivity, and economists will be better equipped to predict and solve future economic crises. The Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest known literary work, is set in Mesopotamia 4,000 years ago. The story revolves around Gilgamesh, a part human, part god ruler who pushes the builders constructing a great wall in the city of Uruk. Enkidu, who comes to oppose Gilgamesh, becomes his friend, and they both become more human and humane. Gilgamesh realizes the futility of his pursuit of immortality after Enkidu's death and restarts the wall project, understanding that humanity comes at the expense of efficiency. The story reflects a belief that goodness resides within society and that nature represents evil. Science and ethics in historical contexts. Scientific discovery and inquiry contribute significantly to social progress and improve standards of living. But it has not always been this way. In the past, unpredictable natural forces inspired mythical or religious explanations rather than scientific ones. For instance, ancient Jewish texts linked favorable weather conditions to divine blessings. Moral behavior and material rewards were also closely linked, as seen in the Jewish tradition of debt forgiveness every 7 years and the observance of Sabbath. The Hebrews were also pioneers in the linear view of history, unlike the belief that history heads nowhere, as seen in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Hebrews also influenced practical progress by portraying neither rulers nor nature as divine beings. Finally, the 2008 global fiscal crisis underscores the importance of ethical considerations in economics, as the field often avoids terms such as good and evil. Thus, science and ethics are intertwined and have a rich interplay in shaping our lives and understanding the world today. Greek philosophers' influence on economics. Pythagoras, Xenophon, Plato, and Aristotle have shaped economic analysis with their beliefs and practices. Mathematics' power, market-based preferences, the division of labor, and reason's role in truth-seeking are all ideas that still hold sway in the modern world. Plato's emphasis on rationality over empirical observation remains a controversial issue in modern economics. Aristotle, however, believed more in empirical discovery than abstract theories. These ancient Greek philosophers still influence the way we understand economics and economic policies. Christianity's influence on economics. Christianity has had a significant impact on economic terminology. Many of Jesus Christ's parables in the New Testament have economic or social contexts, and key Christian terms such as redemption and sin have roots in economic concepts. Additionally, the Old Testament makes provisions to protect the most vulnerable members of society. The coexistence of good and evil is also explored in Christianity, with Jesus advising against the destruction of evil at the expense of good. Theologian Thomas Aquinas believed that evil only exists because of the presence of good and emphasized the importance of preserving the common good. These principles have laid the foundation for laissez-faire government and lightly regulated commerce, which prioritize the common good but also recognized the need for more regulation in the face of evil. Overall, Christianity's influence on economics cannot be overlooked and continues to shape our economic systems today. The evolution of human greed. From the biblical story of Eden to modern economic theories, the book explores the historical and scientific roots of human greed. The concept of uncontrolled wants and the consequences of its satisfaction have troubled humanity for centuries. While liberal markets offer price-driven solutions, Adam Smith's conflicting views on self-centered pursuits and benevolence reveal a deeper understanding of the economic and societal consequences of human actions. Although emotional decision-making and the practical desire for utility also hold sway, modern economic models veer more towards mathematical assumptions, losing sight of the complex realities of human behavior. As we continue to enjoy the benefits of economic growth and progress, the question remains, are we appreciative or satisfied? The intersection of philosophy and economics. The rationalist approach of philosopher René Descartes has dominated modern economic modeling and analysis. Economics and morality are intertwined, with some schools of thought equating vice with social welfare. Mathematicians and lawyers play a significant role in shaping economic assumptions, but poets and philosophers are also essential. Philosopher René Descartes believed that reason was more crucial than empirical observation in finding truth. He aimed to eliminate subjectivity from scientific study and promote greater objectivity. However, his goal remains unmet since science is rife with doubts. Nonetheless, his rationalist approach dominates modern economic modeling and analysis. Mathematics grew in ancient Egypt and Greece alongside philosophical study and mystical experience. But Descartes revolutionized mathematics by transforming it into the personification of reason and rationality. Nowadays, the more math used to solve a problem, the truer its solution appears. In the early 1900s, Alfred Marshall, a founder of math-based economics, referred to economics as the engine of inquiry. Math-based problem-solving is but a language, according to him, and relegated equations and graphs to the appendix of principles of economics to highlight the field's underlying assumptions. Moral choices underpin economic assumptions, although analytics can render these choices immoral by expressing them in figures instead of words. Philosopher Immanuel Kant stated that only unrewarded actions are moral. On the other hand, the Stoics, who are rigid rule followers, view nothing wrong with accepting a reward for a laudable act, as long as the motive was not a reward. Christian beliefs reflect the Stoic emphasis on morality, which involves an individual practice of indifference to utility, pleasure, and sorrow. However, other schools of philosophical thought are more inclined to equate morality and economic utility. Bernard Mandeville poetically contends that individual vice is a source of social welfare. Mandeville first gained prominence in economics in 1714 with his poem, The Fable of the Bees, or Private Vices, Public Benefits, which depicted a beehive where bees indulged all their desires, including fraud and bribery. This flawed yet productive society was reminiscent of England during Mandeville's day. Life inside the beehive was satisfactory despite its flaws. But when the vices disappeared, the quality of life in the hive plummeted since the cessation of evil eliminated the work of many bees who attempted to prevent it or lessen its impact. Critics lambasted Mandeville for attributing so much value to private vices that benefit the public. Nevertheless, his ode to uncontrolled commerce has resonated for centuries with those opposing overregulation. Although lawyers and mathematicians play a vital role in shaping economic assumptions, poets and philosophers are just as essential. Economics and morality are intertwined, and some schools of thought associate vice with social welfare. The limitations of mathematics in economics. Economists must recognize that while mathematics is invaluable in economics, it is not a natural science and cannot explain everything. Even the greatest mathematicians assert that certain concepts are beyond what mathematics can prove. The misuse of mathematical models can lead to flawed predictions, as assumptions do not necessarily reflect the truth of human behavior. Economic models that assume each person's behavior is utilitarian overlook altruistic activities like philanthropy, which have social value. To improve economic forecasting, economists must acknowledge the limitations of mathematical analysis and consider the role of anthropology, history, philosophy, and sociology in illuminating economic behavior. Economics should stop viewing self-love as the primary driving force and recognize the positive influence of non-egocentric motives in economic transactions.
In conclusion, Economics of Good and Evil emphasizes the need for economics to re-embrace its philosophical roots and accept complex human behavior, beyond universal utilitarianism. Sedlacek takes us on a historical voyage, illustrating how ancient myths, religion, and philosophy have influenced economic thought, further highlighting that ethics have always played a crucial role in shaping our understanding of the economy. The book invites a broader and more holistic perspective in economic analysis, discarding simplified numerical assumptions, and embracing interdisciplinary connections. Ultimately, it nudges us to acknowledge that humanity is the crux of economics, rather than mere mathematical equations, and that we must unmask the ethical content buried beneath modern economic theories, to better understand and navigate our world.